That's why I started sharing these stories. And Steve has a good story. Make it good, Steve.
So, I'll make it brief. Back in 1983, which is 40 years ago, I met one of the girls in that picture there. She mentioned her before, Dinah. My assistant will point out Dinah. So I meet this girl, Dinah, in 1983, and within 24 hours of meeting her, I met everybody else. I met all her friends, all the pages. They're here today.
How did you meet her?
Roxanne's part of this story. It took place in Century City. Dinah at the time was shopping, I was in a book at the time. That's the story. It was probably in this bookstore. Well, this wasn't built yet, but there was a book out back then called Ladies' Choice, A Guide to the Eligible Bachelors of Los Angeles. 100 most eligible bachelors. I was one of them. My mother was sure it was a scam. And it turned out to be real, and I didn't have to pay anybody to be in that book. So Dinah was shopping with Roxanne at Century City, actually, in a bookstore, shopping for a birthday gift for her ex-boyfriend who came out to her the previous year as gay. And she thought this would be a funny gift to give her gay ex-boyfriend, a book of LA's most eligible bachelors. And she's paging through the book, she's thumbing through the book and comes to my page, writes down my contact information, and she contacted me. So the book worked out, So that's how I met Dinah. And within 24 hours of meeting Dinah, she invites me to a birthday party. There's like 30 or 40 of these pages, well, 25 or so. Rox and Pete and Shelley and all these people, the people in the picture, and about twice as many. So I became instantly a page-in-law. And these people became, this was 40 years ago, and they're among my closest friends in life right now. I mean, still, right? So, you are, right? So the reason I tell you this story is to tell you this one. About a year later, 1984, we find out that Paul McCartney is going to be on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And we decide we're going. We're going to be in the audience. We're going to see Paul McCartney. And we knew before we went to the show that we were going to be allowed backstage after the show by the very people whose job it is to keep people out of the backstage area. The pages, God bless them. These are the current pages letting in their friends, the former pages, which now included me. I was a page-in-law. So we knew we were going to maybe meet Sir Paul McCartney. One of the pages, is Gay Linville here? She's not.
No.
Okay. One of the pages who became a TV executive, her name was Gay Linville. She had just gotten back from England, and she took the Liverpool tour, the Beatles tour of Liverpool. And she came back with like 100 photographs, actual photographs that you got printed at the, photo mart. The little 3x5 photographs, and she had us all over to her house that day and said, you can go through these photographs and pick any one single photograph that you like to take with you to bring to Paul to see if maybe he'll sign it. We thought, what a great idea. So I'm going through these photographs, and I come to this one picture. It's a picture of the St. Peter's Church Hall in Woolton, Liverpool, Woolton Village, where it's the spot where in 1957, 15-year-old Paul McCartney first met 16-year-old John Lennon. John's band was playing that day, the Quarrymen. He met Paul. A week later, he invited Paul to join the band. So to me, that picture depicted ground zero in the planting of the seed of the Beatles. So I took that picture with me. I put it in my pocket. And sure enough, after the Tonight Show, we were escorted backstage. And we lined up along this long hallway with lots of other people. Those pages were doing a terrible job. There was a lot of people back there. And they're all holding album covers and posters and memorabilia and just large items for Paul to sign. And we're just standing there waiting for him to come out of the dressing room, walk down this hallway to the exit door at the end of the hall, and exit the building. So we're all standing there. The door opens, Paul McCartney walks out of the dressing room, and he's walking down the hall. And people are shoving things in his face, album covers, posters, 8x10 glossies. They're just handing him, and he's walking and signing, never stops, never looks up, just signing things, handing it back, signing, handing it back, walking, trying to get to the end of the hallway. I hand him my little 3x5 photograph of St. Peter's Church, and this stopped him dead in his tracks. He stopped for the only time. He stopped, he looks at the picture, he looks at me, looks at the picture, and I said, do you recognize it? He goes, yeah, I recognize it. And he signed the picture, and he handed it back to me, and then kept walking and signing out the door. So that picture and that autograph is in the book. So if you want Paul McCartney's autograph, buy the book. Thank you.
Now, if I were a nice person and good friend, I'd probably end on that happy, feel-good